Next up is Paul Sherburne in Jam in Santa Monica and Whitefish Bay.
You want me to stay out here so we can continue the discussion?
This part of the meeting ends at 8:30, Mr. Colbert. As I announced, maybe we're in the hall then, or outside. Yeah, Mr. Schmidt.
Thanks for the pronunciation, Congressman. It's always a pleasure. These town halls, if anything, have always been instructive, so thank you for hosting. Just one quick comment about your last comment about Medicare. Paul Ryan, just because something is a plan doesn't make it a solution, because we will be looking at senior citizens paying a huge amount of money down the road, and there's been a number of studies that have verified this. So just because Paul Ryan has said that he's got a plan, this is not a solution. Perhaps going after cost control, perhaps going after making the system more efficient, but this is yet another case where we're not cutting the fat, we're cutting the muscle.
Well, you know, the current Medicare system is cost controlled, and that's one of the reasons why, particularly in areas where the Medicare reimbursement is low, doctors and hospitals have been shifting costs that they can't get from Medicare patients to private pay patients. So, you know, you've seen what has happened with the cost controls on Medicare. The result is that non-Medicare medicine in southeastern Wisconsin has got some of the highest costs in the country. Now, as far as Paul Ryan is concerned, you know, I give the man credit for having a plan to deal with an issue, you know, that this country is going to have to deal with. You know, I've never said that Paul Ryan is right on everything, but I'm saying that he ought to be given credit for coming up with a plan, which is more than anybody else has done so far.
Right. Now, I may plan to build a treehouse out in my backyard, but that necessarily may not make it happen. I think, you know, there's been studies, for example, by the American Society of Quality here in Milwaukee. I know this is not my original question, so I'll just peel off of it. But there's a lot of fat and a lot of waste in the American medical healthcare system, probably to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Just my point. I want to just raise the issue about the situation that we're having with the debt ceiling. You, of course, have voted to raise the debt ceiling many, many times. The Reagan administration, I think you go back to Reagan, right? Right.
I go back to Carter.
In fact, I know your old teacher from the university school, John Stevens. But
He's been more Republican since he got there.
yeah, right. So, thanks for the correction, Congressman. But you have voted to raise the debt ceiling. It seems like the greatest of ease throughout the years. I don't know why we have a problem with this. Now, that stated, I have to say one thing about you. There's been charges that you may be influenced by money. I think you basically vote the way you want to vote, right? However, we have this situation here in this country. We got one person by the name of Grover Norquist who's controlling things in Congress and who is adamantly against any sort of tax increase. Now, the point has been made that we cannot increase taxes in this country because it's going to hurt the job creators, okay?
That's right.
Yeah, so, well, I'll tell you what, look around the room, okay? You are all the job creators. This is what drives the American economy. All of you do it, and you're selling yourself short because this is a consumer base. What's that? What was that?
Can we please let Mr. Schmidt say what he wants to say?
As much as I appreciate your attention, let's move on. So my point is, if we want to, you know, we're all in this boat together. We're all supposed to pull in the same direction. We're just asking that the super rich and the extreme rich in this country contribute something to fighting this deficit. The nick that they're going to take, in terms of all the proposals out there, because, you know, all we're asking is to raise it to the Clinton era taxes, where we all did very fine, thank you very much. And this would affect them very, very little, versus the people who are going to have to sacrifice in terms of people who need health care, people who need assistance in terms of unemployment, and any other things. And that's not including the fact that this government invests in this, and I'll be done in 20 seconds. Government is what drives investment in this country. We have medical research, we have any number of different programs which have launched businesses. In fact, the inventor of the internet was not Al Gore, but the guy who did invent the internet said that the internet was possible because of what Al Gore did and what government did. So for us to
That's hysterical. That's hysterical.
in favor of the wealthy in this country, I think is going to cripple our ability to invest in this country.
Poor guy.
Let me
Kinda
say,
ignorant.
Mr. Schmitz, that according to IRS statistics, the 2001 and 2003 tax changes actually made the tax system more progressive in that upper income people paid a higher percentage of the total income tax collections in the country.
Until they use all the loopholes.
My turn, please.
Until they use all the
My
loopholes.
turn.
Hold on, pal.
You know, what I can say is that most of the upper income people get caught by the alternative minimum tax. And unfortunately, that's become a great revenue creator out of the middle class, and in my opinion, ought to be repealed altogether. But that being said, even the figures the president has put on the table would raise about $40 billion per year with a deficit of $1.6 trillion. So we're talking about those tax increases paying for about less than 2 weeks of the deficit that we have, and we still got to figure out a way to balance the budget for the next 50 weeks every year.
You're ready, doesn't look like.
Well, I guess I'll disagree with you. The labor report that came out last week had an anemic $18,000 or 18,000 jobs created in this country, but half of them were in Wisconsin. So something we're doing here.
Yes!